Title: My daughter told my wife to cheat. It'll make you feel alive again. When you've been married long enough, silence becomes a language. You can tell what kind of day it's been from the way the front door closes. For 15 years, Emily and I built a life that looked perfect from the outside. A modest house, steady jobs, 2 kids, and Sunday barbecues that always ended with laughter. But beneath the laughter, something had been dying quietly. I just didn't know how far gone it was until one night in early spring. It started with a conversation I wasn't meant to hear. I was in my home office, sorting through invoices for my contracting business. The door was cracked open, and from the living room, I heard soft voices. My wife Emily and our 19-year-old daughter Chloe. Their tones were low, but the words cut clear as glass. Chloe said, "Mom, you've been miserable for years. You don't smile, you don't laugh, you barely talk to Dad anymore. You need to do something that makes you feel alive again." Emily gave a tired sigh. "Like what, Chloe? Quit my job? Go on a trip?" There was a pause, then Chloe said something I'll never forget. Maybe you should have an affair." I froze. My pen slipped from my hand. For a second, I thought I'd misheard her. But then Emily laughed. Not the soft laugh I used to love, but a bitter, hollow one. "Chloe," she whispered, "that's ridiculous." "Is it?" Chloe pressed. "Everyone cheats. Dad wouldn't even notice. He's so caught up in his work he probably wouldn't care. You deserve to feel something again." I wanted to storm into the room, to shout, to tell my daughter how twisted that sounded. But I didn't. I stayed still, every muscle in my body locked tight. Emily didn't agree, but she didn't shut it down either. She just said quietly, "Let's not talk about this." That night she came to bed late. She lay beside me, silent, staring at the ceiling. I pretended to sleep, but inside my mind was spinning. I kept hearing Chloe's voice. "You deserve to feel something again." Over the next few days, Emily started changing in small ways. She dressed better, wore perfume again, even started hitting the gym after work. She was glowing in a way I hadn't seen in years. I wanted to believe it was just self-care, maybe her way of finding confidence again. But deep down, something told me this was the start of something I wasn't ready to face. A week later, I found the first sign that my fears weren't misplaced. Emily's phone buzzed on the counter while she was in the shower. Normally, I would never look. But this time something pulled me toward it. Instinct, maybe. The screen lit up with a preview. "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was..." And then the rest disappeared behind the notification blur. My chest tightened. I wanted to believe it was innocent. Maybe a coworker joking around. Maybe nothing. But then I saw the contact name, Ryan Yoga. That was the instructor she'd mentioned from her new fitness class. When she came out of the shower, wrapped in a towel, she looked radiant, humming softly to herself. "Morning," she said with a smile, the kind she hadn't given me in months. I just nodded, the taste of betrayal already bitter on my tongue. That day at work, I couldn't focus. Every sound, every thought led back to that text. I started recalling all the tiny changes. How she guarded her phone now. How she started locking it. How she laughed to herself while texting. My wife, the woman who once shared everything with me, had built a wall overnight. And behind that wall, someone else was standing. That evening, I asked her directly, "Who's Ryan?" She froze for a second, just long enough to confirm everything. Then she recovered, smiling faintly. "He's my yoga instructor, Mark. Relax. He's helping me with posture." "Posture?" I repeated slowly. "Is that what we're calling it now?" She frowned. "You're being paranoid. Chloe said you'd react like this." That hit harder than anything else. "Chloe," I said, confused. Emily turned away. "She just told me not to let you control me. That I should have something of my own." Something of her own. I didn't argue. I just walked out to the backyard, sat down, and stared at the stars that once felt like ours. How do you fight something that started in your own house? Not with a stranger, not with distance, but with your daughter's words echoing in your wife's head. The following weekend, Emily told me she was going to a yoga retreat for 2 days. "No phones, no distractions," she said with that same bright fake cheer. She hugged me before leaving, and for a moment, I almost believed the warmth in her arms. But as her car disappeared down the street, I knew the truth. She wasn't going to a retreat. She was going to him. The house was unnervingly quiet after she left. The silence stretched like a rubber band, ready to snap. I sat in our living room, surrounded by the traces of a marriage I thought was unbreakable. Our wedding photo, the laughter frozen in the frame, the smell of her perfume clinging to the couch. Every corner of the house whispered memories that now felt poisoned. But instead of breaking down, I did something unexpected, even to myself. I decided to find out the truth. Not through confrontation, but confirmation. I called an old friend from college, Trevor, who worked in a private investigations firm. He owed me a favor. "Can you track a phone?" I asked. He laughed softly. "You're finally the one making that call, huh? Send me the number." By the evening, he had the location. It wasn't some yoga retreat. It was a lakeside cabin 2 hours out of town. A romantic getaway spot, the kind that advertised seclusion and serenity for couples. I stared at the map pin for a long time, anger and heartbreak mixing into something heavy, something almost calm. I didn't go there that night. I didn't want a scene. I wanted something that would last. Something that would remind her, and everyone like her, that actions echo. That's when the idea came to me. The city billboard by the main intersection, where thousands drove by every day, where she passed on her way to work. I knew a guy who handled digital ads for local businesses. I called him, paid double, and sent him the image I wanted displayed. It was simple. Black background, white letters. No names. No accusations. Just the truth. She said cheating would make her feel alive again. It killed everything instead. The next morning, when she returned home, Emily was smiling, until she saw me standing in the driveway. "You're back early," I said. She looked uneasy. "Yet the retreat ended sooner than planned." "Did it?" I asked quietly. "Or did you just not plan for everyone in this city to find out what you did?" Her face drained of color. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone and showed her a photo of the billboard. Her knees almost buckled. She covered her mouth, shaking her head. "Mark, what did you do?" "I told the truth," I said. "You wanted to feel alive again. Now everyone knows what that cost."